What is going on, guys? It's Black Quarterbacks. Well, Black Quarterbacks. It's Keith again with Black Quarterback Series. And so, I didn't do it formally last year or last week. Welcome our radio listeners on the Black Civilization Radio. Again, if you know, my name is Keith. So I do Black Quarterback Series. If you want to watch the full video and see all the stuff and sparks and everything that's on the screen, go to youtube.com/Black Quarterback Series. If you want to follow me, go to Instagram.com/Black Quarterback Series Podcast. And let's get
So that's what y'all want to see, huh?
into it. So, the theme of this video is the Eagles. So let's get into the Eagles, and then we'll talk about Pittsburgh, and we just go from there and talk about the league. This is gonna be a long one, so stay tuned. So the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 25 for 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae, 11 receptions, 109 yards. AJ, 8 receptions, 110 yards, a touchdown. So as you can see, the running game was able to run the ball. And the time of possession, to YouTube, is will be up on the screen. It was maybe 20 minutes to maybe almost 40 minutes. So you saying that pretty much they had the ball, or the Eagles, Philadelphia, had the ball for almost the whole game. Literally almost the whole game. It's kind of hard to make weight. It's kind of hard to make ways as far as on offense. And so Philly was very dominant. I'm talking Hurts, 25 for 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. AJ and Devontae both went for over 100 yards in the touchdown. The offense was humming. The offense was humming. Defensively or offensively in the run game is where they really leaned on Pittsburgh and made it really, really hard for Pittsburgh to do anything else. Missed with the fact that Russell Wilson didn't have the best game because he doesn't have his guy with him. Pickens not being in his offense is a lot bigger deal than I thought it would be. A much, 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 much bigger deal than I thought it would be. And they need to address that ASAP, because it don't look like this offense can run functionally unless it's Justin Fields in the backfield making a gadget play. They can't do anything effectively without Pickens on the outside catching the moon ball, so to speak. So, but shout out to Philly. They came in, they dominated the two best teams in the NFC West or the AFC West, and like I said in the beginning of the video or on the thumbnail, is Philadelphia serious? And when you turn the ball over twice and you only give up 3 points within those turnovers at the beginning of the game, and then you lean on your opponent and you lean and you lean and you lean to the point they give up, and you pretty much run away with the game and hide because Russ can't get the ball back, you're gonna win a game pretty handily, right? So I was gonna say the score was not indicative of how dominant Philly was, but I would say it is. It is Philly had that ball almost the whole second half. I was listening to the announcer. The announcer said Philly had the ball 13 of the 15 minutes in the third quarter alone. And this is what Philly do. They got into a lead. They ran ahead, and it was crazy to watch. I was looking forward to a good game, and Philly said, "Nope, we're gonna lean on them, and we're gonna dominate them." You might be like, Keith, they didn't dominate them. They only won by 10 points. You watch that second half and tell me if that's not domination by an offense that knows that they can control time of possession. So, good shout out to Philly. But moving on to Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson was 14 for 22, 128 yards and a touchdown. And so before I say anything about them, if Philly can stay healthy, because they sustained a lot of injuries in this game. Lane Johnson, he'd been camping for a while. Barkley, he wasn't right. There's one more guy missing. They had a couple injuries. If they can get to the finish line healthy, they're gonna be dangerous. Now, you got the Lions, and we want to talk more about Philly, the Lions, and the Vikings towards the end. But let's get to Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a good team. Let's not sit here and just because they lost 2 games, let's not act like they're not a good team. These last 2 games almost pretty much Pittsburgh. I remember. Okay. So moving on to Pittsburgh. If these last two games, honestly, you can say they lost and everything. These last 2 games don't really mean anything if you beat Baltimore. If you beat Baltimore on Saturday, no, it's not Saturday. No, I think it's Saturday. Yeah, if you beat Baltimore on Saturday, we'll be doing a review on that. I'm gonna make sure I get home, watch the game, and give you guys a review. Probably Sunday. Excuse me, probably Sunday morning. But if it doesn't matter, same thing with Baltimore and the Giants. Well, no, Baltimore needed this game more than to beat the Giants than Philly. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh needed it than to beat Philly. So all of that to say that this game next week is essentially an AFC North Championship game. At the very least, if Baltimore goes in there, and no, well, if Pittsburgh comes into Baltimore and beats them, it's over. Baltimore is going to be on the road the whole playoffs. But if they can beat Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh can kind of slide because Pittsburgh can wind up and haven't won a game this month because you got Philly, Baltimore again, then you got Kansas City. You can look up and be lost 3 of the last 4 or lost your last 4 games. So all that to be said, this game mattered, but it didn't matter as far as like the division. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I need Pickens back. I need George back because this offense don't look like it can do nothing without him. So staying in the AFC North, we're gonna talk about Baltimore real quick. Not really much to talk about with Baltimore. They came in, they saw, they conquered. Baltimore was 20. Well, not Baltimore. Lamar Jackson was 21 for 25, 290 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a fumble lost at the beginning. It was a very shared running game. I don't have the running numbers in front of me, but I know that it was really shared running. Henry got like 70, Lamar had like 60, Hill had like 65. So it was a very shared running game, and they dominated. They ended up winning. I think the final score was 35 or 38-14 or something like that. They came in, they dominated, they did what they were supposed to do, and now they're going to go back home to host the AFC North Championship game. So with Baltimore, I'm maybe it's because I'm numb to the greatness. Baltimore has to dominate these games from jump. You can't fumble the ball. Now it was a great play to be picked out. He punched the ball out, but you have to play better. You have to play better, and even at the beginning, you can't lower yourself to the competition. You got to get in, destroy the competition. Like this game should have been 24-0 after the first half. That's Lamar Jackson should have started this fourth quarter sitting on the bench. He should have not played any of this fourth quarter. Should have not played any of this fourth quarter. In fact, he had to play some of this fourth quarter. Is very concerning and very upset to me. So, but they got it done. Who's to be mad? A win is a win, but that's a little concerning to me. And so moving on to Washington. Daniel Jones, 25 for 31, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. They don't look like that same dominant offense that they looked like at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, Daniel Jones looked, I wouldn't say unstoppable. He looked like that offense was humming. And then Cliff Kingsbury, it fell off. It falls off when it gets colder outside. And I just don't like that. That's not a recipe for success. That's not a recipe for success at all. But they played well. They ran the ball more. Jaden Daniels, I've seen way more RPOs this week than I've seen in a while. So they're trying to get the running game going, trying to get that offense going because when Jaden Daniels is running around making great plays, good things happen. He was the offensive player of the week along with Lamar Jackson. So who am I to say that they didn't know what they were doing? But it just didn't feel as dominant, especially against a team like the Saints that are not very good. I wouldn't say they're not very good because their offense is not very good, but their defense was really good yesterday, which is the reason why that they outscored Washington 19-6 in the fourth quarter or 19-6 in the second half and deserved to win that game. They deserved to win that game. They didn't win it. The Saints played phenomenal in that second half. But it's concerning. It's concerning. You go up 17-0 and you can't score another touchdown. It's like something that you generally should be worried about. It's generally something you should be worried about. I don't think they're a title contender right now. They're still extremely young. Terry McLaurin is that guy. I wish Lamar had a guy like him. So a win is a win, but if there's a such thing as a bad win, to me this is a bad win because this Saints team scored 19 on you, and they had Spencer Rattler as their quarterback, and Kamara was like the only offensive piece. Olave is hurt and all that. So that's me. That's just me and the way I feel about it. Let me know if you're in the DMV how you feel about Washington because I'm just not sold on Washington right now. I love Daniels. I do. Daniels is the future, but I'm just not sold on Washington. To another team that I'm not sold on, C.J. Stroud and them. CJ was 18 for 26, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man, this is probably the most exciting game of the year. This is probably the most exciting game of the year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. CJ and Tua will make it magic out there. It was such a great game. But neither of these teams are gonna be in, like, I don't fear neither one of these teams. The offensive line of the Houston Texans is so bad that it just sometimes makes them unwatchable because you feel bad for CJ. You feel bad for CJ sometimes. If you see me looking over, I'm watching Cole's live stream. Y'all know. Y'all already know how I do. So the offensive line is horrible, and that just needs to be addressed in the offseason. And it's very, very frustrating to see that this great team might not get as far as they can because of the damn offensive line when it wasn't this bad last year. So, but they won the division because of the next game we're going to go to is the Colts and their blunder that they did. So this game, I can tell you right now that if you make AR throw 38 passes, almost 40 passes, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. That's just the way it is. He was 17 for 38, 2 interceptions, 2 bad interceptions at that, and a rushing touchdown. But even with that being said, Taylor had 22 carries, 107 yards, but he had the brilliant idea to throw the ball at the goal line. I'll show it in the video on YouTube if you go over to the YouTube page. I'm sure I have it up there. Just run to the back of the end zone. What are we doing? Just run to the back of the damn end zone. Why do you have to throw the ball at the goal line when you know the rules? It's been that rule for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. You just had to throw the ball and fumble that. So after that, the game was pretty much over. They ended up getting outscored 24-3 after Jonathan Taylor made that blunder. And that's really all I can say about this team. This team is not ready to win. They just don't play serious football. They let you think that they playing serious football. They had that streak where they was AR looked really, really good, and then he falls off and have a stinker like this. So I don't even have his numbers right here. But the numbers are just as bad. It's the 2 interceptions and the 17 for 38. So you can try to think about how many passing yards he threw for. I put it on the screen on YouTube, but I'm not impressed. And another team I'm not impressed with is the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals won, yay. But now you're looking at 7-7. The Rams are 8-6. Seattle just lost their starting quarterback. I'm not sure what's going on with Geno. I'm gonna have to look more. Like I said, YouTube.com/Black Quarterback Series. You can see what's going on the screen. His numbers and not his numbers, but his injury report will be on the screen because when he went out, I was confused. I was confused as to why he went out. So I'm not sure as to what happened, but they got absolutely. I can't remember who they played. Green Bay. They actually got blitzed by Green Bay. Green Bay is another team I don't necessarily take seriously, which is why I haven't been covering them as much. But Green Bay is at a point where they have to make me respect them. You can be like, oh, Keith, I think they beat the Eagles and I'm just not serious on Green Bay. And there's so much other stuff to do or to cover that Green Bay is one of those teams that I'm definitely going to cover their playoff game, no doubt. And I've covered them in the past. But Green Bay's going to prove to me that they can do something significant, especially in that bloodbath of the division where you're the third best team. You got 10 wins. So let's get into some other stuff that I thought was pretty interesting. Bill Belichick going to coach in college at North Carolina. Now y'all know I look at Joel Klatt and he said this is a good move because of blah, blah, blah. This move reeks of the same thing where the LSU coach went to go, or the Notre Dame coach went to coach at LSU. The Notre Dame coach went to LSU. It just don't work culturally. And with the way Bill coaches, he coaches like an old man in the early 2000s. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be a disaster. I don't see Bill even getting to a bowl game within the next 10 years. Like, I just think it's going to be a disaster. I don't think it's going to work. I think the cultures are going to clash. Let's just keep it 100. Black men are not going to play for Bill Belichick after everything that's been said about Bill Belichick. Like, I just don't think that it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. So Sanders throwing to Malik Neighbors in that video. Again, and I hate to make it about race. New York is not drafting a black quarterback, guys. Come on. Let's be for real here. New York is not drafting a black quarterback. They're not drafting Shador. They're going to draft some other white guy, or they're going to draft Travis Hunter. They're not going to draft a black quarterback. Let's be for real. And that's really all I got to say about that. They're friends. That's all that is. NFC race for the number 1 seed. And I'm looking forward to talk about this. Excuse me. And I'm looking forward to talk about this. So we got the Vikings, and we got the Lions, and then we got Green, and then we got the Eagles. All of them, I think they have 12 wins at this point. I think the Lions are going to get the number 1 seed. And these two teams are going to have to play on the road, which absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks that a great team is going to have to play on the road in the second round. Because they're going to get home playoff games in Wild Card Weekend. Because there's only one bye. So there's only one bye, and I think Detroit is going to get it, and I think the Eagles are going to be the 2nd seed, and I think the Vikings are going to be the 3rd seed. And it's going to be I think it's going to be a bloodbath. Teams going to be jockeying in position to try to not face the Eagles, because I love the Vikings, but I don't know about the Vikings. But they're very beatable, but they can beat you. So the Vikings deserve all of their wins. I'm not saying the Vikings are no good, but if I gotta either face the Eagles or the Vikings, I'm picking the Vikings. So, but even at the bottom of the NFC, I don't even think it matters. I don't think none of those teams could play with the Vikings, but I know for sure they can't play with the Eagles. So with the Vikings, so I know my friends are going to be mad at me for saying that, but it's just truth. And so Josh Allen MVP, and then we're going to end it here. So the Josh Allen MVP love, I get it. Josh Allen has been absolutely phenomenal since he proposed to his wife. Congratulations to him for getting married. I love it. But let's not act like Lamar Jackson has not played well this season either. Lamar Jackson's not so good games are better than Josh Allen's awful games. But I know we love Josh Allen, and the media's gonna push it. And if you hold a gun to my head, I think I'm gonna go with Josh Allen to win MVP, just based off the fact that they just really want to give it to him. As I lean back in my chair, they really want to give it to him, so they're gonna give it to him. Especially if Josh Allen keeps playing like he's playing. Josh Allen is playing out of this world right now. I'm not saying Josh Allen's not playing out of this world right now, but I just think Lamar Jackson deserves it for one of the incompetence that he's dealing with, and two, the guy's doing stuff people have never done, or he's doing stuff that they never thought he would do. And Josh Allen, now you can say Josh Allen's not playing with a top 10 receiver either. He has a better record. So I think between the better record and the media loves Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen's going to run away with the MVP. And Lamar Jackson is going to second or third, to Saquon Barkley. So it don't really matter though. Lamar has an MVP already. It really depends on what you do in the offseason at this point. So let me know what you guys think. Really, really a lot to say, a lot to do, a lot to talk about. We're coming down to the home stretch, and we're finna get into some playoff type football. Talk to you guys later. Peace.